What's going on, you guys? It's your boy Ben Mahari here, representing Mahari Nation Sports Podcast. Much love to the entire LDBC and the basketball community. You understand what I'm saying? Don't miss basketball conversations every Friday night, 9 p.m. Central Time, where we discuss basketball related topics, news, debates, and everything else in the world of basketball. For all the new subscribers out there, make sure to hit the subscribe button and hit the bell icon to get all the latest notifications when I drop videos and live streams. And please spread the word about the channel. So, with no further ado, let's get down to it. Boy, these protests has been exposing everybody, and I'm telling you, it is beautiful to see everybody getting exposed to their double standards and their hypocrisy when it comes to racial double standards and basically some systematic racism in this country. Now, yesterday, Roger Goodell pretty much put out a statement on Friday, pretty much releasing the statement supporting the Lives Matter movement and pretty much condemning racism across the country and pretty much validating the double standards of what the NFL has been holding to since they blackballed Colin Kaepernick 4 years ago. So let me read to you guys what Mr. Goodell had to say about this. And quote, it has been a difficult time for our country, in particular black people in our country. First, my condolences to the families of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and Ahmaud Arbery, and all the families who have endured police brutality. We, the National Football League, condemn racism and the systematic oppression of black people. We, the National Football League, admit we were wrong for not listening to the players earlier, and we encourage all to speak out and peacefully protest. We, the National Football League, believe Black Lives Matter. But he continued on. I personally protest with you and want to be a part of the much needed change in this country. Without black parents, there would be no National Football League, and the protests around the country are basically symbolic of centuries of silence and inequality and oppressions of black players, coaches, and fans and staff. We are listening. I am listening, and I will be reaching out to players who have raised their voices and others on how we can improve and going forward for a better and more unified NFL family. And they pretty much posted there on Twitter there too that we that basically they basically made put out the statement that they condemned racism and systematic racism and Black Lives Matter. Pretty much that last line, pretty much the last line when he talks about we should have listened to the players, we should have listened to the players earlier, encourage all of our all of them to speak out and peacefully protest. Listen, those words were pretty much symbolic of what they're basically saying, that they were basically wrong about what Colin Kaepernick was doing at the time, because Colin Kaepernick was pretty much protesting what is going on right now in this freaking country. You know what I mean? And this is a reflection of how the NFL pretty much admitted they were wrong because they were trying to protect a conservative fan base. All right. When the protests began, all right, remember, Colin Kaepernick was sitting on the bench during the playing of the national anthem. And then basically, when he got into a compromise with the league, they agreed. He basically agreed that I'll basically kneel down during the playing of the national anthem to protest police brutality on black people. Colin Kaepernick was one of the very first athletes in this era to basically voice that kind of sentiment of what's been going on currently right here and right now. And what happened? Racist fans, racist media, and even the president himself, Mr. President, you know who, your president, Donald Trump, pretty much ripped the NFL to shreds and basically called the players that were protesting SOBs and pretty much wanted them out of the NFL. So, with that in mind, they basically the 49ers, released Colin Kaepernick and haven't had a job in the NFL since. And pretty much Colin Kaepernick sued the NFL for basically blackballing them out of the league and got a huge settlement out of it. All right. So this is too little, too late. Already, there's been a lot of people. There have been a lot of people out there that has been basically ripping the NFL to shreds about what they basically did, and most of them pretty much don't believe what they're saying, including this one tweet that really stood out. He basically said this one person pretty much said, "Missy with this crap." Literally every social/conduct policy the NFL has adopted in the last decade has been anti-player and and meant to crack down on freedom of expression. Almost all team owners are white Trump donors and supporters. We know who you are. And here's another one. Here's another one. He said, "We, the black people, are wondering why you didn't have this energy when Cap was peacefully protesting. So let Cap back in the league, or we don't believe you." All right. And this other person said, "Apologize to Kaepernick and give him his career back. Until then, this is lip service." And here's another good one. Here's another good one. "Glad you said this. It was well received and well overdue. I'm still not coming back. I can't. I'm sorry. Apology accepted, but trust has to be earned, and it hasn't been earned back." But here's the one that really stood out for me, in my opinion. This one basically this other person said, "Say his name. This didn't go far enough. This is what systematic. This is what systemic racism is. The NFL making a statement to make themselves look quote unquote look better. No, they need to do better. The NFL let politics and the president make decisions for them out of fear. Own it. Say his name." Absolutely. And I'm glad there's been a lot of people that are pretty much ripping the NFL to shreds about the whole issue, because they are absolutely 100% right. They listen. If if the Goodell basically would have stood up and said, "You know what, we were wrong about Colin Kaepernick," just like what Joe Lockhart said last week. Listen, it would have been a entirely different tone. But it doesn't really matter, because most of these people that I've read on the tweets, they don't believe the NFL. They don't, because they basically expose themselves to what they really are, and they bended the knee to basically to the conservative party, and basically got ripped to shreds for it now, because imagine this, if Colin Kaepernick turns around and somehow miraculously, and I think good could be possible, if he ends up winning the Nobel Peace Prize for basically what he did and throughout this entire protesting stuff, I'm telling you guys, I'm telling you right now, it's going to make the NFL look even more worse than what they are right now. You know what I'm saying? And yes, there are a lot of owners in the NFL right now that basically are donors to basically Donald Trump's presidency. But right now, you could pretty much make a case that some of these owners that basically were supporting Trump at the time are probably going to turn a blind eye on this, because this is too much for them to deal with. You know what I'm saying? Because you combine that with basically blackballing them out of the league, and basically we're stripping the players the right to basically express themselves. You know what I'm saying? And then afterwards, you see what happened when when the fans ripped Drew Brees for his statement on Instagram and made a fake apology out of it, because it was a fake apology. And let me say this though about Drew Brees, that was a fake apology more than anything else. And if you didn't even want to put out that statement there on Twitter, why you even say it in the first place if you couldn't handle the heat that was coming? I just don't like it when people just put out something on social media, but not stay their ground on it. No, you meant what you said. Stand by it, because if you don't, it makes you look like a coward. And that's what people look at Drew Brees now. They look at him as a freaking coward. All right, not to go off base here, but the point is, the NFL basically got it entirely wrong, and now fans are these a lot of these people on Twitter. Some of them may be NFL fans that are basically ripping the NFL to shreds about the entire issue, and they are 100% right. But it's still, at the end of the day, you are also part of the problem there too, because you still watch the NFL even after Colin Kaepernick was blackballed out of the league. All right. It doesn't matter what your words say on Twitter, because at the end of the day, it means nothing if you don't stand by an average code, which is don't watch the NFL. Let your fanmanship of not watching the NFL speak for it. That will send the message that you don't that you basically condemn what they did to Colin Kaepernick. But now the NFL is now in a huge bind right now, because now the question is the question is now, what are they gonna do when they allow if they allow Colin Kaepernick to return to the league? You know what I mean? Which team is gonna give him a chance for him to play, or even try out as a quarterback? And if I were Colin Kaepernick, I would not even try out for the NFL anymore, because they basically treated you like crap and blackballed you out of the league. All right, and now they're trying to save face and try to get you back into the league. No, it's not going to work that way anymore. There's no way it's going to work that way because now a lot of the fans that I read their tweets on from Twitter, they are just don't want to hear it anymore. They either want Colin Kaepernick back into the league, or just flat out straight up said that they were wrong about Colin Kaepernick. All right, but I I feel like, you know what, very nice of Goodell to say it, but guess what? 4 years too late. You don't mean what you say, and I'm not buying to a single word that Goodell said. All right, and basically he was forced to say it because the players were basically forcing him to condemn and basically belittle, basically condemn and basically rip the shreds on racism in this country. So it's really just lip service to me at this point, and I'm not even bothering listening to what Goodell has to say because it doesn't mean anything at all. They knew what they were doing, and they basically let a man lose his entire career because speaking on an issue that's really relevant in this country right here, right now. And so I don't really I'm just at the point there where, you know what, I'm not buying to a word what they say. Actions speak louder than words. And until they do something about it and possibly let Colin Kaepernick get a chance to play professional football, I'm not believing a word they say. And in fact, if I were Colin Kaepernick, I would probably just not play any. I would not even worry about playing football anymore because it's not worth it anymore. It's just not worth it. You know what I mean? Your sacrifice is much bigger than just a sport. And so that's just my 2 cents on the situation here. It's just more it's the same old lip service for the National Football League. But tell me what you guys think in the comment section.